Hello, and welcome to another episode of Gaming by the Pint. Today's episode, we're going to talk about the Doom series and a wonderful beer from Spiral Brewery.
And I'm Justin.
And I'm Phil.
And this is our brouhaha for the evening.
Alright, so Spiral Brewery, they are from Hastings, Minnesota, and we actually had a chance to visit them today. And we actually got 2 crawlers of their Mississippi Fog. Ooh, jeez.
Right?
I know, it's a little... That thing is loaded.
Oh, yeah.
That thing is hazy.
Right. I didn't think it was supposed to be hazy, but...
It is a hazy IPA.
Was it hazy?
Yeah, this is the hazy IPA.
Oh, alright. Wow.
Alright.
Yeah, that looks thick.
Skull.
Skull.
She was right, it's definitely juicy.
Yeah, that's good brouhaha there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
It's not too citrusy.
No, it's... I mean, the hazy and juiciness are there. I'm trying to figure what kind of... Almost like a tropical fruit.
Right.
It's not a West Coast tropical, it's more of a...
It's not a mango.
Not kiwi, but it's definitely pineapple. Got a hint of pineapple.
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah, pineapple.
A hint of pineapple. Oh, I like it. For a joint located down in Hastings by the freestanding arch bridge there on the main strip. They're distributing to what, like 200 different locations?
Yeah, it's actually locally here in Minnesota and western Wisconsin. They opened in 2018, actually on 4/20, 2018. So, great day to open up a brewery. And they're a small brewery. I didn't get a chance to ask the barrel size of what their kettle was, but I think they had like 5 bright tanks behind us. They had 9 beers on tap. They had a red IPA that we tried that I thought that would be a good summer beer. We did get another one of their IPAs, so we'll be able to show that off in a later episode. But overall, I'm impressed with what they did, and I've never heard of them before. This is the first time I've ever seen them.
Yeah, I've gone down that main drag and never stopped in there, and clearly they're making good product. I mean, they've only been doing it for a couple of years, and that's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
They must have had like a family formula or something, is my guess, in order to have good brouhahas right off the bat.
Yeah.
You don't just come out making good beer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty good. I like it.
No, I'm glad that we stopped in there. We actually had a game store, and we thought, brewery right across the street, let's walk in. We're the only ones there, actually.
Right.
The poor lady was lonely, so...
Well, this whole COVID thing is just ridiculous, so trying to deal with everything and still staying open as a business has got to be really hard. So,
yeah, unfortunately, they can only do growlers. You can get crawlers or growlers to go.
Right.
Unless you really want to sit outside and drink a pint outside when it's freaking 15 degrees outside, you know.
Yeah, here in Minnesota.
The only benefit about that is you can take your time drinking it. Their beer will stay cold.
This is true.
Your beer will definitely stay cold. It's not going to warm up.
Beer will stay cold.
So...
Unless you're going to be drinking some Coors, and then your beer is going to freeze.
Yeah, because it's basically 98% water. So...
No, I like this beer. This is good. I like it.
All right, the Doom series. That's
Right.
a game everybody's heard of. Everybody's have heard of Doom.
Well, ID Software created it back in 1991, I think, and they did a pretty good job back then. Basically, pioneers of the industry when it came to that type of software for first-person shooters, and I think they had great product back then. They had something that obviously has lived on until almost 30 years now. So, well, that's a pretty good job if you can keep telling the same story. I feel like the timeline has changed a bit as far as how the game actually is. It's not the same game anymore.
When you think about, like, back in the day growing up, you had a PC. And I remember people saying, like, oh, let's go play the Doom. I have the demo of Doom. Like, everybody had the demo
Right.
of Doom. And you had maybe, like, the first 3 levels. You know, time as a kid, going through those levels, like, so much. And you didn't care about, like, you're doing the same thing over and over again. It was the fact that you were playing a gory game on your computer.
Right.
And, you run around shooting people or shooting demons.
It was dark. Like, you couldn't really see what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden you turn a corner inside of a dungeon and all of a sudden something's there ready to get you. And it was a lot of fun. It was pretty plain Jane. You kind of knew how everything was going to work.
Well, the fact I think that they also created the first-person shooter genre category, because no other game, no, Wolfenstein was before that. So I think Wolfenstein was the one that kind of then came up with the idea of, you're behind a person with a gun shooting.
Right.
No
Which
other-
was also developed by ID
Right.
Software. They also did Quake as well. So they've got some good software in development there.
When it comes to first-person shooters, yeah,
Right.
they've been pretty good about what they do.
And then it was progressed into a product where it was sold to Bethesda, who has morphed it from its original development. And I like the intermediate, regular Doom. Once you start getting into the new Doom External, or Eternal, sorry. It's way more complex, and it's like Halo mixed with blood and gore with
Doom Eternal was like Doom 2016, the reboot of it, kind of helped. I think the developers show like what they originally had planned for Doom. Like, hey, with the current hardware today, we can make a Doom game that we originally envisioned. Because they tried to do that with like Doom 3. Doom 2, Doom 3, I think was the first one that they did 3D with. They never really did a Doom 4 because I think by Doom 3, I think the audience was kind of like burned out with Doom. It's like it's the same game over and over again. So I think they took a hiatus.
right.
And then comes 2016's Doom, which is the reboot of it. And that one did well. People loved it. And then they just basically like, how do we take that and dial it to 11? And that's what Doom Eternal is. Doom Eternal is like in your face, like fast-paced action. Like you got to be quick, on your toes.
Right. Like if you're new to playing Doom, you're not just gonna play Doom Eternal. Like I don't recommend starting off playing that. There's a lot of pitfalls where you're just gonna die a million times.
Yeah.
And get frustrated until you figure it out. But at least you go back to a checkpoint and it's not a big deal. But
it's definitely a lot of fun. Doom the 2016 one, that one was good. Way to bring people back into the series that kind of maybe turned it off or never really played it growing up. So I think it was a good way to show people that.
right.
And if you like that one, yeah, then definitely get Doom Eternal. That game is, I think it was awesome. I've rage quit multiple times in that, but I kept going back, and it's just,
You will rage quit.
yeah,
You
it is
will.
definitely, it's a hard game. And
You will rage quit. Just know it.
oh, there's so much, the fact that you can melee kill them, and then there's different ways you can kill them. Like you can cut their arms off, you can rip their eye out, shove it back down their throat. I mean, it's just
Right. It's starting to mix it in with like Mortal Kombat style
Yep.
of like finish him and like just blood and gore
And then you
all
have
the
to-
time.
Yeah, you have to strategize yourself, because you may end up at a point where you don't have enough ammo, but you have too many enemies. So you're like, okay, how do I? Well, you have your chainsaw, so you can cut up those like weak zombie kind of demons, and then they drop ammo for you, and you're like, all right, cool. So you get your ammo replenished that way, and you just go rock them that way.
Well, I'm a really good button smasher in those scenarios, so I just love press everything just to make something happen, because it's hitting the fan, right? Like, they're always in your face with monsters. It's action packed. It doesn't stop. And that's where the chainsaw feature with the blood punch really comes in hand. Like, I just love to do the blood punch and just take them out. There's not enough bullets and everything for me to personally just do the buzz chainsaw, basically, to take everything out. But that's where the chainsaw comes in handy. But I wish you didn't always have to get fuel for the chainsaw.
Yep.
So
one thing about I noticed that with Doom Eternal, they really added in new mechanics that previous Doom games did not have. Like, for example, the jumping, the wall jumps, that's new. The fact that you have to climb to a wall, climb up it, they didn't have that. Like, well, you couldn't do that in the original Doom because the technology at the time wouldn't allow you.
Right.
You basically had to, and then of course you introduced it to that game, to the story. It made the game more fun. It made it a little bit more different than you're not running around the same level, just running and gunning.
Right.
You had to climb up, swing around, solve a kind of like, okay, how do I get from here to here to here, and everything. And so
the wall clinging is more like Assassin's Creed or something a little bit more complex, like Prince of Persia, where you're trying to do something. So they're definitely doing a little bit something different than what they initially started out with ID Software. So they've morphed it a bit, but it's still a great game, and lots of boss fights, and just trying to cram a grenade into that floating eyeball can really piss you off, because you're like, I don't have any more grenades. So then it's just chomping on you, and you're dying. And you're like, ah, damn it.
One thing I did like about that ID Software does well is their level design. I think they put a lot of detail in their level designs to make it look like a destroyed city. You're in hell. You're on some ship and everything. They do a great job of that detail. So what's going on around you, stuff's still going around on the outside. You may not be affected by it, but, you know, crap, the intro to Doom Eternal, once you get to Earth, you see that Titan just walk right by you.
Right, that's pretty awesome.
And then you look in the distance, you see like an armored mech, just kind of like, all like, because you got Wook, but he's just sitting there and he's just in the background.
Right, it looks like something from like Gundam or something. You're like, sweet, this is going to be like insane, really cool stuff that is not anything like Doom ever was previously. Now they've thrown in this whole storyline where it's like an alien priest or something, and
you're the Doom Slayer.
Right, you've come down
from your floating space station,
and you're trying to liberate Earth, except now it's just full of demons.
It's already like 3/4 of the planet has already been overrun. You're kind of like, all right, I guess I'll help you guys out.
And I don't even think there's people left.
Hey, I didn't see any. That's the thing. You hear them. Yeah. You hear them, but you go down to Earth, and the places you go to, there are no, like, there's no missions like save the civilians or do this. You're just kind of like, by the time you get there, demons have already overrun the place. Places just,
they're all like dead.
Bombs just went off the whole thing.
Right. Like
there's like lava and blood.
Looks like World War III with crazy mechs that were attacking these other alien whatnots, and it's just like, wow, it's pretty good detail. It looks really cool.
Well, it shows you how far they come, because when we played Doom 3, you know, we're in like a spaceport where it's nothing but walls. We're never in open areas.
Right.
It's all enclosed. It's all dark. It's kind of like in Doom and Doom 3 and Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil, they're trying to do like jump scares. Like, okay, we're gonna jump around the corner. Oh, okay, you know, you got it. Your flashlight turns on and off.
Right.
They try to do that with the limitations of the Xbox or the PC at the time. Then you move forward where it's like, hey, we took technical leaps in graphics. Now we can keep the jump scares, but then we could open up the area like more, not just linear hallway fighting. It's like, no, you're in a room. You can run around, jump, and fly everywhere. It's
right.
It's definitely. I mean, for the game where it's came from to where it is now, you can definitely see like ID Software does put a lot of TLC into it.
They've definitely put something that went from an 8-bit video game basically
Right.
into what it is today, and it's insane what they've done to it. It makes me wonder if this was his original thought on it, but maybe due to the engine back then, that's all he could get away with.
I'm sure because of technical limitations of the computer technology and the fact that, I mean, they brought Doom to the PlayStation and the Sega Saturn. I remember those ports were pretty, they weren't the greatest. And even then they made Doom 64 for the Nintendo 64, which was, I guess some people said it was decent for a first-person shooter in the 64.
Sure.
But yeah, their vision was too bold for the technical limitations at the time. But now with technology that is today, I think they can able to create their vision and create some amazing story and gameplay with that. And we're seeing that a lot in a lot of games we're playing now, especially post PS3 360. A lot of the games now, their stories are a lot more robust. They're a lot more engaging. They're very action oriented. There's a lot more you can do with the character and not just run up and down the hallway or platforming.
Right. You're really building the character up now in Doom Eternal. I mean, you're gathering different weapons, building them up, building up your arsenal, so to speak. And I just maybe wish there would have been maybe more of the mech warriors actually coming to life. That would have been pretty badass.
That would have been nice if at one point that you can actually get one working.
Right.
Because there's actually missions throughout you can find the batteries for your mech, but I don't know if it's something that in the end, yeah, you can get your mech going and there's a special level unlock at the end of the game. If you achieve everything, you find all the unlockables, collect everything, and there's a special at the end, and then but at the same time they also just released the DLC this past November.
Sure.
And so I don't know if it eventually is going to be brought into that story or not, but
maybe it's a future of things to come. Maybe you're
possible.
They end up using this giant mech warrior, which would be pretty badass.
That would be pretty fun to fight the Titans in that thing.
Right.
Oh man. And then the graphics in that game, I think, when it comes to graphics, I know ID Software was at the one point the leader, because once they came out with the Quake engine, I remember games kept advertising, "Oh, we're built in the Quake engine. We're built in the Quake engine." And then next thing you know, it comes along was Unreal, which was from Epic. Then everybody was now everybody uses the Unreal engine. And
right.
And so, but the fact that now that Microsoft owns Bethesda, owns these properties, dude, I would use their technology and pass it around to all the different games. They could take games that they have and say, we're going to use your engine now, and they can make games that look so much better. Or they can use those programmers' thoughts and say, how can we incorporate this? And
right.
So,
or they could actually take it away from other certain platforms now that that's only owned by one entity as well.
Yeah.
But that would also limit the amount of sales they made. So
it was interesting. It was a very big shocker in the game industry world when Microsoft announced that they had purchased Bethesda for $7.5 billion.
Right. That was crazy.
Everybody's I didn't even realize Bethesda was for sale. So I don't know if Microsoft came knocking on their door saying, we'd love what you do, we love your studios, would you be willing to join us for, and they say name your price, $7 billion. Microsoft's all right, and they're wait, what? But then Microsoft's got so much money in their pocket, they're $7.5 billion. They're probably okay.
Right, they got deep pockets. So
well, yeah, they're at the same time, it's Xbox to them is they're in it. They're in it.
They're in to win it.
Yeah.
PlayStation, I think they are just. I don't think they realized that was even on the board. So it's something that they missed. And
I didn't know if Sony could even afford them. That would definitely be. I know Sony makes money too, but compared to Microsoft, I don't think Sony could cough up that much cash and be we're gonna acquire this.
Right.
They spent I think Insomniac. I think they spent $200 million for Insomniac or something like that.
Well, obviously the game changer that's happened now is going to be something that you'll maybe see in the future. Then is Sony gonna step up and start buying up some of these industries as well? Who would they buy? What's on the chopping block here? This is pretty crazy, but with these trying times, so with the economy and everything, everybody just wants to be underneath somebody else's umbrella, right? So it's helpful to keep them going when you have like a 5-year plan just to make a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not going to drop that product for so long. You need to have large funds of cash to be able to support that type of a structure. So, but
yeah,
by utilizing some of the engines like you talked about that they create, and then they can just keep on reusing the same engine,
mm-hmm.
just put it in a different focus,
Mm-hmm.
you can create different games, and it's going to be just as cool.
Right.
So,
I wonder if we're ever going to see Master Chief and the Doomslayer ever meet up in like a crossover, like Master Chief and the Doomslayer, like, hey, how fun would that be?
that would be pretty cool.
That would be fun if they come up with some like Super Smash Brothers, but Microsoft branded, of all their IPs together.
Right.
But I think that
Is it Halo with Bungie, though? Or the newer Halo?
Halo's with 343, yeah. Yeah.
So.
But still, it's the fact that, like, I think now that with Microsoft's purchase of Bethesda and the Doom brand, now they actually are able to not have a deadline and say, okay, give us 5 years to build something. They can come back and say in 5 years, like, we need more time. Microsoft's going to be like, fine. And it's not like they have to meet the deadline to make money, because Microsoft's going to be like, we're paying you guys to do this. So
Right.
when it comes to games that Microsoft wants to put out are quality, they're going to be like, all right, if you guys need more time, then take it.
Right.
And they're not under pressure from the producers or, like, the publishers saying, no, this needs to be done at this time because we need to make our money back to invest in you guys. They can be like, cool.
Well, you can see that already. They've done soft releases, and people were like, no way, no how. You need to do some serious alterations, and that's when they'd be like, well, let's just give her another year then.
Do you think if they release Doom on multi-platforms, do you think they're going to give special treatment to the Series X over the PS5?
They
Like,
have
they're
to.
going to say it's going to run better on the Series X compared to the PS5.
Well, maybe not run better, but, obviously they're going to release it on the Series X way before it's ever going to get released on a PS5. So,
I'd say at least a year exclusivity before
Right.
they switch it over to
and
the
then
PS5.
when it comes to any kind of extra mods that, Microsoft has pretty much been saying, yeah, you guys go ahead. We'll have fun with this.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take it too far, but definitely have your fun. Whereas PS4 in the past has been like, yeah, we're gonna make this a little bit more white bread, and that's too much. Let's dial it back. Yeah, we don't want to do that. So, but that's where the Xbox will really shine in that instance, because they will have fun with it. That's for sure.
And one thing about the Doom games is that their soundtrack. It is like, if you love heavy metal, if you love like Metallica, Rammstein, some of those like heavy hitters, who else we got? Pantera. If you love that heavy stuff, Doom Eternal soundtrack is up there.
Right.
It is just ripping on the chorus.
Heavy
You're just
metal
sitting
the
there.
entire time. Even in the intro, you just start playing, you're just like, what?
Oh god! And then you're sitting there
This?
just like, oh my god! I just want to crank the thing and just start punching. I mean, it goes hand in hand. The fact that like, and the music pumps up, you're just like, yeah, I just want to kill these people. And you're just,
Right, it's hard rock the entire time, and definitely turn up the bass, because it sounds great.
Oh no, that's I heard that the soundtrack actually sold quite well too afterwards. Like,
Oh, I bet.
that people are like, I just want to own the soundtrack, so I'm listening to work and I'm like, Doom Eternal soundtrack, just jamming on the keyboard, working like.
I hope they're not listening to that as they drive to work, though. They're just like,
Just road
just
rage.
rage all the way to work.
Get off the
when you get
road.
off.
Or you get an email, you're raging, and be like, fuck you, Karen. Like, oh, geez, sorry, that's my boss. No. But, no, the Doom series has come a long way from the old Doom demo that basically was on every computer that you knew. Like, I knew people that would, like, in high school, I think we installed the Doom demo on it to play LAN parties with each other, and everybody's like, that's unauthorized software. But we're like, oh, but we hit it, so if you dig around here, there's the Doom demo, you can play it on the computer.
Right.
I mean, you're the cool kid on the block, and you sit there and say, come on to my parents' house, I have, Doom. And like, oh, really?
Right.
And everything. And now here we are, it's like, Doom.
Yeah, for a while I didn't know if they were going to do much with it, and then all of a sudden they just popped one after another. Right.
I think
in the last few years.
Because Resurrection Evo came out back in on the original Xbox, which was back in 2005.
Right.
So
and prior to that was 91.
Well, you have Doom 2 and 3, which is like throughout the 90s. Yeah, probably like 98 was probably the last one that came out, but then they had a break because there's no Doom between that. Well, they did Doom VFR, for the PS4.
Right.
Which is the Doom 2016 version, just VF for virtual reality, which is that's a fun game too.
Well, I love playing virtual reality. I just wish they could get past the screen door effect that PlayStation has.
Yeah.
So you can do about a half hour worth of time, but then after that you kind of get like motion
sickness. You have to break.
Right. But the motion mechanics in it are great. You can just fly around like it's easy to maneuver. It's a great game. They just need to develop that software, I think, a little bit more with the virtual reality, and hopefully they'll get something on the PS5 here that's going to be revolutionary, because that'll be a game changer in their favor compared to Xbox. And then whether even Bethesda will create product for that is another whole whatnot, because they could just be like, yoink, we're not doing that because of our parent company.
It'll be interesting to see, because I know Microsoft made a statement saying we're going to do this case-by-case basis on are they going to release the game on multi-platforms.
Right.
So you think Skyrim, Bethesda game, everybody loves that game, everybody wants to know when the next Skyrim's coming out. Is it going to be an Xbox exclusive now? Or is Microsoft going to be kind of like...
It has to be multi-platform.
So is that going to be one of those case-by-case basis where Microsoft's like, we will release it for the other platforms, but there's that possibility that Microsoft's probably going to be like, exclusivity, like, we get it for a year on the Series X, then we're releasing the 5. Because that way maybe... Because not only that, but then all the games released on Game Pass day one. It's like Doom Eternal's on Game Pass right now.
Right.
So if you have an Xbox, you can jump on Game Pass, download right now, and go.
Game Pass is pretty sick. I do approve of the Game Pass. I do like it. It's something they did that's right.
That is something that I do enjoy the Game Pass. It's worth the money. There's definitely, especially Microsoft first party studios are on there day one, and everything. You can go back and play them all. You can even 360 games are showing up on there too. Even Xbox One's games are showing up there too, and they. Now that they've gotten so many subscribers, they've gotten more people, more games are showing up on there. Like
they've always tried to keep their games backwards compatible.
Right.
So going back to, number one, building it all up and keeping it with the flow is probably got to be easier versus PlayStation going, well, everybody really liked these games in the past. Can we do that? Can we create a Game Pass? They probably don't even know.
Yeah.
So, but they got their own little version where they release some of the newer games, and that's great as long as you're still paying for their subscription. Once you stop paying for that subscription, even if you downloaded it, it's like, nope, you aren't paying for the subscription right now, so, we took it away.
Right.
So
you'll get the game back once you're subscribed back to our subscription.
Right.
So, yeah, it's behind a paywall.
Yeah, even though you paid for it initially, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know.
Yoink.
That's where they got you. But
it's almost as bad as EA with their microtransactions in the past. Just game changers, for sure.
I mean, one thing about like id Software, I mean, I've been a fan of them all the years because like, granted they've mostly been producing first-person shooters. They redid Wolfenstein again, so that's probably another game we're going to talk about in the future.
Right.
This is Wolfenstein, because they came out with that, the sequel, and I've heard those things have been very good. Quake, I haven't heard of a new Quake game in a while.
It's been a while.
Like, they had their QuakeCon, I know they do, like for a while there, and I think they did like a Quake tournament or something like that back a year or two ago. But yeah, I'm curious if they're ever going to come out, because they had Quake, Quake 2, Quake 3, which everybody thought was great. Then they came out with like Quake Tournament, which is more of a just strictly online game.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. But obviously they got good products, and now that they've got a decent parent company carrying them, maybe we'll see more of those products in the future as well. So
I think id Software is those companies that like, okay, they released the game. Is that something I should take a look at? Because like you got id Software is kind of like who else do we know? CD Projekt Red. When they release a game, it's something like they've made good games in the past. That's something I'm kind of curious. Maybe let's see what they say.
This is going to be a staple now.
Right.
People are going to be like, you don't have Doom?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of weird.
Well, yeah, it's been around since the 90s. Everybody knows what Doom is, and the fact that you're running around destroying demons, and the fact that, like, with where they came with just running around and hallways of a space station to the point where you're basically like hell on Earth, and in hell itself, killing demons and fighting fucking titans, like the end battle is you fighting a titan. It's you taking him on head on, and while not at the same time basically just getting raked over the coals by all the other demons, because you're fighting this big dude with armor, and every demon you've fought in the past of the game is being spawned on that level, so you have to destroy those mofos while taking on the big guy on top. So it's just like, and then of course you got the heavy metal soundtrack in the background, just like just rocking, and you're just like it's just like, God, you just get so rage, you're just like, you just want to chug a beer and just go hard. You don't want any distractions. You just basically want to have music blaring.
Constant action.
Just go.
Non-stop.
Go.
There's no breather.
No, it's just.
It's not an open sand pit. It's just mission.
You almost need like a guy, like a partner to stand there and sit there and say, okay, life over there, ammo over there, there's armor over there, do this, do that. And you're sitting there like, okay,
That is helpful.
It's like, okay, what? Look out behind you. They're behind you. They're left, right.
There's so much going on. You're not aware of what's going on because you're trying to focus on the guy that's trying to kill you.
Yep.
Meanwhile, you're totally running out of ammo. You don't realize it because you're just like, they won't stop shooting me. And meanwhile, there's like health way over here and some special thing. But one thing I do like about their mini-map, it's actually 3D.
Mm-hmm.
So you can look at the map real quick and be like, oh, alright, it's in 3D, it shows where you should go, it lights up certain scenarios, like if you need to jump to that wall, it lights up the wall. So, like...
It also tells you, like, the elevation, so, like, if you're missing, like, a hidden, like, a toy, a vinyl record, which unlocks soundtracks, other stuff in the map, it tells you, like, okay, you're up here, it's down here, and sometimes it may say, go here to do that, or it might be like, oh, it's over here, but this whole area is like missing, so you're like, okay, I gotta find, is there a wall I gotta destroy, is there something I gotta do to get to that area, but it kind of, and at the same time, it also tells you when you're in the map saying, you are missing these pickups.
Right.
So if you're one of those people that's a completionist, to go through all that stuff, it does a good job of saying what you're missing.
It does.
And you can go back to the levels that you previously played.
And then, as you die 1 million times, well, it might be a little bit less than 1 million. Mine's probably like 1,000,001. But every time you die, it actually gives you a hint of why you died and how to take out that character. So that's pretty helpful, I think, because of the type of challenges they put in compared to the original Dooms. So that's good, at least that it's trying to be more helpful. I mean, I'm not saying it needs to be more pussified in any way, but Jesus, it's harder. It's harder.
But I think that's what makes it so fun.
Right.
It's definitely hard, but I think the whole in-your-face, like, go action, I think is, like, what makes it fun. You're like, it's not just, like, slow poke, you're like, I'm just going around shooting people, ding, ding, ding. It's like, boom, boom, boom. Like, you're literally, like, you gotta be focused. So if your wife or girlfriend's talking to you and you're like, yeah.
Well, I'm alright with that too, but, if you're gonna make it action-packed like that, give me the chainsaw, run 100% of the time. Just run around with the chainsaw, just...
It should be unlockable at the end of the game if you beat the game on a difficulty. It's like you get unlimited fuel for the chainsaw, so yeah, you just... running through. And you can chainsaw every demon in that game. You gotta beat him down. So, like, if you go against the Marauder, the guy with the shield and the axe, if you can actually weaken him enough, which is damn difficult, But you chainsaw, like, there's actually specific animations for how you chainsaw different enemies or demons. So it's actually kind of cool to see how it happens. Because, yeah, you get to slice them, or they're like, he goes like this, or, you know, the brain with the legs.
Right.
I mean, it's cool. You can do the melee kill attack where he rips the leg off, stabs in the eye, or he rips the eye out, shoves it down his throat, and they blow up. Or,
I personally hate that demon. It drives me insane.
well, there's the one with the eye, but then there's also the one with the arms too. You seen it? You seen that flies around and it's like this, and he's a little bit more like.
I hate him just as much.
He's like from Dungeons and Dragons. It's like, seriously, they copied him from Dungeons and Dragons. It's like
It
that
is.
one eye with the Gorgon, and then that movie from Big Trouble in Little China, the freaking floating eye too.
Ooh, yeah.
I think that's where they copied it from. Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
Floating eye.
Well, I wonder if that started at Big Trouble in Little China, or if it started somewhere else. It'd be interesting to know.
Who took it? I mean,
where did that start?
Was it Big Trouble? Was it D&D, or was it Doom?
Ah, man. Like,
comment below. Let us know who started it. Yeah, let's put an end to this argument. What argument?
I'm gonna guess D&D, but it's got to be even older than that. Maybe it's based off of some myth or something.
It probably is. There probably was some myth of a story of some demon. Could be Greek. Could be Norse mythology, that there was a floating eyeball that was like...
I don't think I've ever heard about that in Norse mythology. I mean, I've read a lot of books, but I've never heard about that. I'm wondering if maybe it's Chinese or something. I don't know much about their mythology.
Yeah, that I'm not too sure. Japanese. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if the yeah. I don't know. Let us know. Comment below what you know of that origin of the flying demon eye, but the whole the one thing about the game that I think is interesting is, like, the Doomslayer does not say one word. Everybody else is talking to him.
Right.
But the Doomslayer does not say dick. Just, you know, like, the guy says nothing, and he speaks more with his actions. Let's put it that way. But you think the guy would actually say something, like, especially if you're going up against a priest, and the priest is talking to you, be like, "You did this to me. I'm gonna kill you." Nope. Just they're sitting there talking, and then
they say whatever, and he just kills him.
Yep. And beats him to a bloody pulp in front of the other priest, and the guy's like, "Okay, I'm leaving," and you just drag his bloody body back. And but oh man, if you guys are on the fence about Doom, I would say start with 2016 one. Kind of get yourself familiar with how ID Software rebooted it. This one's not too bad. This one you can get through 8 hours, 10 hours. I'd say it's about 8-10 hour game. It's a good game.
Yeah.
It's a good reboot. Then go and then be like, boom. Freaking go to Eternal, man. That is literally like, I mean, if you go Eternal then go back to Doom, you'll probably be like, oh, wait, what?
This would be good to start at like midnight, and then like rage until like morning. Just play until like 5 a.m. or something.
Yeah. You haven't gotten to bed yet? No, I'm Doom Eternal. Like, yeah, you've been playing all night and everything.
Yeah, for sure. I'm digging it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This is some good brouhaha, though.
I really enjoyed it. I think the Mississippi Fog, a hazy IPA, 6.7% alcohol by volume.
And it says 12/19 on here, so does that mean...
that was probably the date that they canned it.
Hmm.
Not even a month ago.
Right. That's pretty good.
Good old oil can of a beer can. Freaking... There you go. You can only have one beer.
Right.
You go and grab this thing, the wife's like, what? It's this freaking just big old beast.
I only had one beer.
Yeah. How big was your beer? It's like a freaking... Oh, it's a gallon's worth.
Ah, that's great.
Well, I'd say this was a good beer for a good discussion of Doom.
Hell yeah.
If you looking for a bloody good time with some rock and music that you just want to jam out and piss off the wife or the girlfriend, you know, seriously, have the music cranked. Like, the sound is... Or put on headphones and just rock out to
the
it.
The soundtrack is great. I do like. I approve.
Beer-wise, I give this about a 7. I'd say 7 or 7.5. I think this is...
I give her a 7. I think it's pretty good. I think it's a good beer.
So, Spiral Brewery, in Hazy, Minnesota. If not, pick it up at your local brewery. This one's Mississippi Fog. Until next time, Skol.
Skol.